know what that's the sound of? That's the sound of a train coming because it's week 7 of our virtual classroom. We are steamrolling through, and on week 26 of social studies, it's all about the railroad boom. We've talked about this a lot. I love talking about trains. I love trains. Think about the Polar Express train. Think about stories about trains. Think about how the train has changed commerce, has changed business. Think about trains being a very, very important factor in our economic resources. So that's week 26 of social studies on Texas Studies Weekly for you. Don't get confused with all the week numbers. Week 7 of school, week 26 of social studies, unit 9 and benchmark. So many numbers. We should figure out our own secret code for the week. Speaking of benchmark, it is week 9, unit 3 with our automaticity and talking about resources, the articles for you to read, the stone tools, and the solar power article, the solar article. Great articles, great practice, good words to practice. Wish I could hear you. Wish I could hear you in the classroom with all the timers going off. I'd give anything to hear that sound again, and just think that sound used to get on all of our nerves. Now we'd love to be together and hear it. So week 9, unit 9, week 3, and for your automaticity and your practice. It's week 7 on the water cooler, and we get to start journalism. I'm so excited about doing the journalism. This is just a week to immerse you. You're not writing a whole lot of your own things, but you're learning about the different articles that a journalist can create, the different types of magazines, newspapers, the different articles put out and where they're found, all kinds of cool things to study about journalism. And then it is our last week in our resources impacting economies, and we get to talk about elephants in Africa and the economy that the resource these elephants are to their communities. I think it's so interesting. I have a lot of connections with the Africa stories. When I was young in school, when I lived in England, one of the first trips I took was a safari to Kenya. Can you believe that? I can't believe that anymore. I think about it. Safari to Kenya. And one of the first animals we saw on a reserve were the elephants, and that was just when they were starting to take care of them. Before that, there was a lot of poaching going on just for those ivory tusks. It'd be like us pulling our teeth out. Those tusks serve a purpose for the elephant, and we're reading the text to learn more about that, but learn how the elephants are turning into being used as a natural resource to bring tourists in to help protect the elephants, bring tourists to the country to see it. Reading about Africa, it made me think of A Long Walk to Water and Salva, and that really cool story. It makes me think of my friend Tish Morin, who is in Honduras, and she and her husband run a school and a mission for a community, for a village there, and all that they do. And then it makes me think of my sister going to Tanzania last summer and helping out at a school in Tanzania, and the stories that she came back and the pictures she came back with telling me all about how the children, their first job in the morning, their first chore when they get to the school is to get their jugs and walk to the river and fill them with water so the school has water for the day. And how the young men, at the end of the day, they clean the little classroom. And it means they sweep the dirt floor, and they've even gotten creative leaving patterns in that dirt floor. We were going to spend a lot of time learning about those schools in those 3 or 4 places and looking at even more that you might know about that you could share with us. Places that you or your family have been or that you all know of. Missions that you know need help or support more than just in the States but globally. And looking at water projects in other places. So I think we can search for some time for kids articles about the water in those different places, the schools in those different places, the natural resources, the need for water affecting their economies. All those interesting facts. As we read articles like that, many times we'll come across words that we don't know. And when we come across words that we don't know, we use our context clues to figure out just what the writer is telling us. We don't really call them an author right now when we're talking about journalism and these informative. We talk about the writer or the journalist or the researcher sharing his research. So we use our context clues. We either look at the punctuation around it, where's that comma, so that it's understood clearly. Are the commas separating maybe a definition? Like there are many breeds of dogs. A breed being German Shepherd, Husky, Sheltie. So you see my examples of the breed. So that would tell me what breed was. Sometimes our context clue is an antonym or a synonym. Sometimes we have to infer the meaning of the word from what we know. That's where our Caesar words come in handy. This week, our skill are context clues. Con, if you take that apart, that con means with. So context, with text. So clues within our text. So we have to infer what context means because we know what the stem con means. It means with. So with text. So we use, that's another context clue strategy, is breaking the bigger words into smaller words. Like the way we figured out Maleficent, or the way we figured out Odie, Rawls, in A Dog Called Kitty. We had learned in our Caesars that odious meant hateful, so we inferred that Odie Ralston, even though he was the law enforcement in town, might not have been a healthy law enforcement, a positive law enforcement. So we were able to infer because his name Odie Ralston, and the word odious meaning hateful. So we used our context clues in many ways. So you can infer, you can find the definition, you can look at the examples. Examples being, oh, I went to the plant store yesterday and saw some beautiful hibiscus. There was the schizo hibiscus, there was the double hibiscus, there was the red hibiscus, there was a hybrid hibiscus. So all types of examples of the hibiscus, of the flower, or the antonym or the synonym. So you've used these a lot before. When I come across a word or a phrase that I'm not completely sure of, if it's a book that belongs to me, I like to circle that word and then maybe underline the phrase around it that told me what that word meant or that helped me understand that word more clearly. Or I keep a Post-it note and I know that right here, Post-it notes, I write the words down that I want to look up. If I don't need it right then to understand what the rest of the text is saying, I will go look them up after I've finished reading that part of the article or whatever it was I was working on. So enjoy the context clues. We have a lot to read. What's a little different this week is that your assignment is actually on Google Classroom. We've created a PowerPoint that has the definitions of the context clues and then a simple assignment that you just identify what type of context clue is needed to answer each question. I think there are only like 5 questions. So don't look for a specific assignment on Benchmark this week, but you might want to use Benchmark definitely to read the articles about a Changing Africa resource. All right? Simple, exciting, interesting, and I'll be looking forward to your journalism ideas as well. Y'all have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.